Takashi and Mashiko, a newly married couple, visit Quindecim bar where Decim, the bartender, challenges them to a dart game in which each landed dart causes their partner to feel pain based on its location. During the game, their memories return and Takashi recalls suspecting Mashiko of infidelity, which she denies. He tries to manipulate the game and ultimately wins. However, it is later revealed that they both died in a car accident caused by Takashi's jealousy, and Mashiko confesses that she only married him for his money. Decim stops Takashi from attacking Mashiko and sends them to the elevators, where Takashi is reincarnated, but Mashiko is sent to the void. Nona brings a woman with black hair, who has no name or recollection of her past, to Quindecim to work as Decim's assistant. Nona takes her to the backstage to watch Mashiko and Takashi play darts, and explains the rules and purpose of the games. When the game ends, the woman shares her opinion that Mashiko only had a brief affair which she regretted, and lied about the father of her baby to protect Takashi's soul. Decim is surprised by her viewpoint and apologizes for any errors in his judgment. Later, Nona is seen reading a children's book called Shavit in a different building. At Quindecim, two new teenagers with amnesia arrive to play a game of 10-pin bowling, in which each ball contains the heart of the other player, and beats according to their emotions. During the game, the two become friends and begin to remember snippets of their past. The boy, Shigeru Miura, recalls being a college student, while the girl, who was once Shigeru's childhood friend named Chisato Miyazaki, remembers more about herself. Shigeru then remembers that he and Chisato died together on a bus, and after winning the game, he asks Chisato out on a date, with whatever time they have left. They part ways at the elevators, grateful for the chance to spend time together. However, it is then revealed that the girl was actually Mai Takada, Shigeru's other childhood friend who underwent plastic surgery to look like Chisato to get his attention. They both are sent for reincarnation. Yasuke Tateshi, a teenager, and Misaki Tachibana, a TV celebrity, arrive at Quindecim, with Misaki believing that they are on a hidden camera show. They play an arcade fighting game based on themselves, with Yasuke winning the first round and Misaki experiencing a sudden memory of her abusive partners. Decim then makes Yasuke's joystick malfunction in the second round, causing Misaki to win while Yasuke recalls his troubled childhood. They realize that they are not on a TV show, and Misaki becomes paranoid about losing as she believes it will lead to her death. However, Decim causes Misaki's joystick to malfunction during her special move, forcing her to physically attack Yasuke, who is knocked unconscious. Despite Misaki's regret, Decim insists that the game continues. Yasuke regains consciousness and uses his special move, leading to a double knockout. They both come to the realization that they have died, with Yasuke having committed suicide while Misaki was killed by her angry assistant. Yasuke is sent for reincarnation, while Misaki is sent to the void by Decim. The assistant with black hair has a recurring dream about a boy and a girl and is surprised to see the same girl on a panel that Nona asked Decim to display behind the bar. A man and a young boy arrive at the bar as new guests. Decim is shocked when the man remembers being there before, and becomes violent. As Decim tries to restrain the man, the young boy, who is actually another arbiter named Jinty in disguise, puts both the man and the assistant to sleep. Jinty accuses Decim of not judging his assistant, who is already dead. Jinty and Decim fight, but Nona stops them and reveals that the guests were part of a test for Decim. Nona explains that Decim failed the test because he didn't realize the boy had no memories and was distracted by the man, who was a dummy implanted with memories. Later, the assistant dreams again about the boy and girl, named Jimmy and Chavit. In another scene, Nona is shown reading the same children's book titled Chavit with the same children on its cover. Mayurita, a schoolgirl with high energy, and Harada, a member of a popular boy band, come to Jinty's arbiter bar, where they are asked to play Twister. Mayu is thrilled to play with someone from her favorite band, while Harada is more concerned with returning to his girlfriend. Jinty changes up the game when Mayu and Harada ask for a break, making the game match climate change with each panel they step on, from hot to freezing cold. Mayu and Harada end up in a sudden death situation above a pit of spikes. Harada is about to push Mayu off to save himself, but Mayu decides to forfeit and lets herself fall. Harada grabs her, feeling guilty over driving one of his ex-girlfriends to suicide. Mayu lands on rubber spikes instead of dying, and remembers that she died after slipping on soap. Harada remembers he was killed by his girlfriend, who was his ex-girlfriend's sister and sought revenge. Harada becomes interested in Mayu after she changes into a kimono, and they perform a concert together for the arbiter staff later on. As she peruses through the Chavit book, the assistant recognizes the story from her dreams, prompting her to recall some memories and to realize that she is no longer alive. When she inquires about the book, Decim informs her that it used to belong to Quinn, a former arbiter at Quindecim. In a flashback, Nona questions Decim about his decision not to use his remote device during one of Quinn's death games as he watched on. Decim reveals that he respects individuals who have lived fulfilling lives, which piques Nona's interest. Following her departure from being an arbiter, Quinn has taken up a role in the Information Bureau. While sharing a drink with Nona, Quinn remarks on how Decim is a unique arbiter with human emotions. Meanwhile, Decim presents his assistant with his prized possession, a collection of dummies dressed in attire similar to that of former guests who were sent to the void, so that they are not entirely forgotten. Later, Nona arranges for 2 special guests to visit Quindecim. Following Nona's request, Decim welcomes 2 new guests to Quindecim, a young man named Shimada and a detective named Tatsumi, with one of them suspected of being a murderer. While searching for an exit, Shimada discovers a blood-stained knife among his belongings, unsure of its origin. The 2 guests engage in a game of air hockey, during which Shimada recollects looking after his younger sister while Tatsumi recalls his wife's murder. As they continue to remember more details that motivate them to escape, Shimada remembers that his sister was assaulted. Decim modifies the game to cause the scored pucks to inflict pain on the respective player's organs. Meanwhile, the black-haired woman requests to view the memories that Decim obtained and discovers that both Shimada and Tatsumi are murderers. 3. As the game between Shimada and Tatsumi progresses, Shimada realizes that he had previously killed someone, the man who had assaulted his sister, Sai. Similarly, Tatsumi remembers that he had killed the murderer of his wife and recalls that Shimada was the one who had killed Sai's attacker. Tatsumi had apparently watched Sai being assaulted to gather enough evidence to pass judgment on her assailant, while Shimada had believed that Tatsumi was an accomplice in the assault and had fatally stabbed him. Decim offers Shimada the chance to extract revenge on Tatsumi by stabbing the pucks containing Tatsumi's organs, but his assistant disagrees, and argues that it is not fair to judge people's souls solely based on their memories. Despite her attempts to stop him, Shimada succumbs to his anger and kills Tatsumi. Decim is surprised by his assistant's arguments, as she believes that people are more complicated than they seem on the surface. The episode concludes with the devil standing atop the elevator, indicating that both Shimada and Tatsumi were sent to the void. Decim starts to have doubts about his ability to judge people after the events of the previous game. Nona reminds him that he still needs to evaluate his assistant because she will turn into a dummy if left without judgment. However, he decides against receiving her memories, and Nona sends him a new guest, an elderly artist named Sachiko Uemura. Decim, his assistant, and Sachiko play a game of Old Maid using cards that feature designs based on important things in their lives. Through the images on the cards, Sachiko realizes that she has passed away, while the assistant remembers her name, Chiyuki, after Sachiko mentions the feelings of the children in the Chavit story. After Sachiko departs to be reincarnated, Nona's boss, Oculus, absorbs the memories of Clavis, the elevator attendant, and discovers that Decim is experiencing human emotions. In the meantime, Nona has Quinn retrieve Chiyuki's memories. Mayu and Harada are still at Jinti's bar and haven't been sent on yet. Jinti offers Mayu a deal to trade Harada for another human soul to be sent to the void. Meanwhile, Decim asks Chiyuki to ice skate since it was a significant part of her memories. As Chiyuki skates, she remembers her past as a professional ice skater who was forced to retire due to a serious knee injury, which led to her becoming depressed and committing suicide. Decim and Chiyuki share a final drink together, and he puts her to sleep before asking Quinn to send him her memories. While this is happening, Mayu decides to stay with Harada and face their fate together rather than sacrificing another person. Jinti questions her decision, but Mayu remains steadfast. He sends them off in the elevator, and as they transform into dummies, Harada wakes up, allowing them to share a final embrace before entering the void. Oculus questions Nona's techniques as she attempts to demonstrate that arbiters have more value than mere dummies. Decim takes Chiyuki to see her old home where she realizes that her mother still loves and cares for her, causing her to regret her suicide. Decim then offers Chiyuki a chance to return home by sacrificing another's life, but she ultimately decides against it after remembering how much everyone she met at Quindecim was cherished by others. This causes Decim to experience strong emotions, which he reveals to Chiyuki were part of her judgment. Nona and Oculus watch the outcome and understand that comprehending human suffering is a crucial aspect of judging them. Decim says goodbye to Chiyuki, attempting to smile, and Nona and other arbiters consider the implications of understanding human behavior. Finally, Decim greets new guests with a small smile, while the bar now features a mannequin resembling Chiyuki.